I think we're live. I think we're live.
What's up? I see a little check mark on the Twitter icon and a little check mark on the YouTube. So yeah, maybe we didn't end up on Facebook. So
I am adding Facebook right now. So I think, okay, we're checking Facebook.
Well, guys, if you're tuning in while Taylor's working on this, I just want to welcome you to the call. I don't know if we actually have anybody on because, we've never done a StreamYard live before. Oh, we do. We have eyeballs on us.
We do have eyeballs.
Thank you for being here. We got some stuff to share today that we'll get into in a little bit. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag while Taylor's still trying to figure out how to go live on Facebook.
Am I live on Facebook? Chat, if you guys are watching this live on Facebook, please let us know.
There's little check marks on Facebook. Facebook Cheddar Black.
There we are. Facebook. We're live.
Sweet.
Okay. This is working.
If you can see us on the internet, would you
goodness.
just say something in any of the chats? I think they all come into this little window. Hi, Vivian. Thank you for being here. Hi, Scott. Thank you for commenting. Oh, there's another one. Facebook user, what's up?
Watching on Facebook. What's up, you Seth? I'm your first like. Thank you. Yes, if you are watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Help us get the stream out there. This is cool. I'm actually watching this. We have subtitles too that are live. So it's showing subtitles. Yeah. On Facebook.
I see my name.
No. If you look at their Facebook stream, it is actually showing subtitles as we talk. So that's good to know.
In case you don't have the volume on.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's probably why. It's because I muted it.
Yeah, it did that with my video that I shared, that I uploaded to Facebook, which was the first time I don't know if you saw that video I did, going over the number one listing in kitchen and dining. I was like, dude, this thing's popping off like crazy. Amazon's going out of stock. Resellers are stocking up and selling it for a profit, a marginal, quite small profit, but I thought it was interesting. And then I noticed all the subtitles, and it didn't necessarily differentiate how on the different ways to spell there. I was like, well, that's not how you spell it, but hey, still pretty darn close. Michael Clark.
I'm playing around with this. I like this one. From Yusuf, free cheddar black for the first 10 likes. that would be one heck of a reward for.
Maybe we do need to do some giveaways. We'll do some giveaways on these future lives.
So fun thing is we can actually do giveaways using StreamYard for anybody who's watching on any platform. It just kind of, I think, randomly selects. So you know what, guys? Welcome. This is our first time doing this with StreamYard. We're live streaming both to YouTube, Facebook, and I believe Twitter. Let me double check our Twitter. We're getting in the hang of it. We're getting the hang of it, and we'll get better. We'll probably bring some OA Cheddar t-shirts to the next one, and we're live on Twitter as well. Look at this. This worked out beautifully. I wasn't stressed at all.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna wear on the next live call is your bachelor party t-shirt. I've literally seen it in my drawer and been like, I should wear that shirt.
Oh no. Yeah. So so Grant, for those who are like, what is he talking about? We got married at the beginning of July, but at the end of June we went out for my bachelor party, and we went camping at this place called Stehekin. It's in Washington State. If you ever are in our neck of the woods, please go check it out. It is a very beautiful place. But all the guys got these t-shirts with big old pictures of me. And there's one with me with a fro, because if you can't tell, my hair actually is curly. It's fuzzy. Just cut really short right now, but when it grows out, it gets pretty curly. I know what you just said. I'm not going to repeat it. And so one with me a fro, one with me with a space helmet, just these pictures, these funny pictures of me from the past. And so, which one do you have, Grant? Do you have the
Afro Taylor?
Afro Taylor. They gave me a cool one. They gave me a one of me surfing that actually looked really cool. It's totally dirty and stained from that weekend.
You wore it hard, dude. You wore that shirt hard over the weekend.
I I pull it out and I'm like, oh, this is kind of a shame because there's like ketchup stains and mustard stains and
steak grease and beer juice and all kinds of awesome
all
fun.
no good. Well,
it was good. It was a blast. We had
it
so
was
much
a
fun.
no, it was a blast. It was a blast.
We rode e-bikes up and down this little. It's like a town in the middle of the like mountains that you can only get to, I think, by boat or ferry. And there's like cool things you can rent e-bikes. We rented side by sides. Taylor has a friend that we grew up with who has a spine disease, and so he couldn't ride the bikes, but we got him on the side by sides and ripped all the way up this road and checked out some like awesome, waterfall level stuff, and it was awesome, dude. We had so much fun, and this like the most amazing, probably legitly the most amazing bakery on planet Earth. I think.
You have this town that doesn't have any Wi-Fi. It's like 100-person population. You have to take a boat to get up there, but they have an amazing bakery that serves the best sausage and gravy, biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy. Yes.
You said sausage because there were such huge chunks of breakfast sausage in it.
Oh my gosh.
So good. So much butter and
Grant and I are closeted fat kids, and we love to eat food. And when we find food that we like, we have like memories of that food. And I'm just thinking about like the first bite of like the biscuits and gravy and the sticky buns. Yeah. All right.
And they made good coffee too.
Speaking
of fat kids, hold on. Speaking of fat kids, I weighed myself. I am like another 4 pounds down, roughly.
Nice.
It goes back and forth. I had kind of a cheat day yesterday, though. I actually was sort of embarrassed to like share with my trainer like what I ate yesterday, and I don't even want to share it on this call. It was my kid's birthday though. Xander turned 9 years old yesterday, and so Ashley went. I'll just say it. She went and got donuts, and I overdid it. But anyway, so today I went on a hike, Saddle Rock. I've done it twice now in the last 7 or 8 days. And I've been doing hikes, but as you know, Taylor, that's on the Saddle Rock's on the other side of town, and quite a bit more elevation, but it was good. So anyway, still kicking butt, sort of like I'm kind of falling back and forth, but so just in full transparency, I weighed myself at 301, right? And before you all compare yourselves to like, oh my God, Grant's 300 pounds. I can assure you that my body frame is far bigger than yours. Just like Taylor's, like we're like big people.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. There's plenty of fat to be worked on, but where you might be able to bench press in the 200s, I can bench press in the 300s, and so on. That kind of gives you some perspective on. Oh yeah, dude. Hold on.
That was. Let's just be real for a second. That was just a shameless plug, brag. The flex.
Well, I'm wearing black.
I can bench 300 pounds.
Black is slimming. But no, legitly though, like I so anyway, I'm trying to like save, like I'm being transparent, but also trying to save my ego a tiny bit. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But actually at the man event at our church, right? At our church, they had the big men's conference, and I had crushed arms, bis and tris, and some other lifts and stuff. And I'm just gonna rant for a second. And I was like, I kept looking over at the bench because they have a bunch of competitions. You guys, we have like the best church. Also, we have the best church in the country too, and maybe in the world. And so we have these really awesome man events. And so there's tons of different competitions the first day of this conference, all over like the whole entire facility and stuff. And one of them was bench press, and I was like, I shouldn't do it. My arms are sore. But anyway, I did get. I think it was 315. Tried to get 335. Right, tried to jump up to 335. It wouldn't work. 315. I'm like, oh, it's because my arms are busted. But so I'm not scared. I'll brag about it a little bit.
Everyone in the chat just say strongman Grant.
Yeah.
In full transparency.
You do, I'll shut up.
we went to Costco this weekend, dropped way too much money at Costco, and I think I gained like 5 pounds. Actually, I know I gained 5 pounds. Then we got the croissants. If you haven't had those almond cream croissants, so good. Even better frozen. Anyway, Grant, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We got some content that we're going to be going over today. And we also have a couple of lead examples that we want to go over live. So welcome everybody. In the last couple of weeks, we set out to do an experiment. We had a hypothesis that was, if we expanded our current lead standards in OA Cheddar, would we find more actionable leads that our subscribers would benefit from? And do we want to adopt these additional standards to OA Cheddar? So in this call, we're going to go over the results from the last week and a half so far of leads that we have pulled. I went through and I pulled out some examples, and we're going to share those. And then likewise, we also pulled out 2 examples that we'll go over live inside of this call. So if you guys are ready to get started, just go ahead and put in the comments, let's get going, or like yes in the comments. Just let us know that you're ready to dive into our experiment presentation.
I know I am, Taylor.
All right, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Perfect. All right, so the OA Cheddar lead experiment. Hypothesis: expanding OA Cheddar's lead standards to encompass a larger amount of variety of leads will result in more good, fast-selling leads for our amazing subscribers. And can we just take a moment to say, Grant, put the guns away?
Yeah, I know. Here I am bragging about it, and then you put this goofy looking photo of me, which you guys, this is for YouTube, okay? Be honest here. Like, apparently you're supposed to take selfies of yourself and making stupid faces and poses, and then people can use that for clickbait on YouTube. I mean, so I thought, well, what better photo than to take with my arms just showing, you know?
You're gonna scare everyone away, though.
Yeah.
I get the benefit of making these slides, so I get to pick the images. It's pretty fun. You will not see a picture of me up there like that. Just be clear. That was our hypothesis. So we set off to do a little data collection. We put out a survey on Facebook to our wonderful group, and you guys, thank you so much for your feedback. This was super helpful. You can see at the bottom of this poll that we had 81 votes on this Facebook poll, and we put out a handful of different standards. And we wanted to get an idea of what you guys, the subscribers, wanted to see in your leads, and we were actually very surprised at the results. The lowest result was actually our current standard, and has been our standard at OA Cheddar since 2018, which is a $4 net profit with a 40% ROI and at least 10 sales per month. And the ones that stuck out the most are the $3 profits with a 50% ROI and 30 sales, and the $5 net profit with the 30% ROI and 10 sales, which is a standard that we adopted, I want to say about 3 or 4 months ago, that has resulted in some great leads on our lead list. And then we also had incoming in third is our $10 net profit with a 10% ROI and at least 20 sales per month. So just to go over again, just to touch on it real quick, this was the original Cheddar standard. This is the standard that we have been sourcing off of for the last few months, and then since 2018, which is that $4 net profit and 40% ROI, or a $5 net profit with a 30% ROI. A couple standards that will never change. Okay, this is what makes OA Cheddar different from other lead lists that are out there on the market. Once a lead has been shared to a list, it can only ever be shared to that same list. Meaning, if a lead lands on Cheddar 6 for the first time, it doesn't get shared to any other list except for Cheddar 6. Likewise, any lead that has been shared cannot be shared again for the next 60 days. Okay, we do this to reduce just repeating the same lead every couple of weeks because maybe there's another sale going on for the same buy cost. We find that just kind of helps spread out the competition, and it's just not sharing you guys the same stuff over and over again. We do share leads to the same list. We will repeat a lead, but that's either going to be in our top shelf replen section, where it can have the same buy cost, same source, or if it's top shelf, it means that it is a new sale, a new promotion, or a new source that you're buying it from. That is the only reason why a lead would ever be shared into a top shelf section. So the experiment: for 2 weeks, OA Cheddar's lead generating team will source leads with additional standards that are designed to help find leads that prioritize sales per month in relationship to net profit. So here were our experimental standards. We had a $3 net profit, 50% ROI with 30 sales per month, a $4 net with a 30% ROI at 20 sales per month, the normal $4, 40%, 10 sales per month, and then our $5 30% ROI, 10 sales per month. And then we have our $6 net profit, 20% ROI, and 20 sales per month. And then finally, our $10 net profit, 10% ROI with 20 sales per month. That was a mouthful. I wish I would have said, here are our standards, and we moved on to the next slide, but we didn't.
Well,
we said it.
These are the same standards that we put in the poll. And so we had come up with these additional standards. And again, our original minimum standards are there with the 440-10 and the 530-10. We added the other 4 on the top and the 2 on the top and the 2 on the bottom. After talking with, I was actually on a call with one of our virtual assistants who's been with us for, I think, close to like 4 years, Taylor, or maybe longer. And just really wanted to hear her thoughts on, she's one of our like primary people. She's part of our quality control team. So she helps vet leads with our American team. Basically, we've curated a team of experts that go through all the leads. Some of them are American, some of them are our virtual assistants that go through all the data that's collected, somewhere between 300 or 400 leads a day, and pull out the absolute best stuff, and we deliver that. And one thing I will say is I do believe that OA Cheddar standards are quite high compared to a lot of competitors from what I'm seeing, because I am out there testing other lead list subscriptions. Full transparency, not trying to hide from that. And just kind of comparing, making sure that our product is. Here's the thing: OA Cheddar's goal and why that we're doing all of this is we don't just want to be like another leadless provider. And hopefully that is kind of obvious. I mean, I think it is when I compare, and again, comparison is the thief of all joy. But when I look at what OA Cheddar is doing and our attempts at being the best at what we do, and I look at what all of the other leadless providers are doing, and I'm like, I think we're putting our best foot forward, and that is kind of our mission, right? We want to be the best. We don't want to just be another leadless provider. We've been doing this since 2018. I believe we were number one then, all the way leading into even now. I still think we're the best, but we're not sold out. We've always been sold out for 4 years. We want to be sold out. That to me is a marker. That is like the check mark. Are we the best lead list in the industry? Okay. Are we sold out? If not, then no. Right. And so I can't say with confidence that we're the best lead list service in the industry, or we just haven't done a good enough job of making sure everyone knows we're the best and getting enough, again, it's one thing to be a good lead list. It's another thing to have good marketing and to bring in, new customers to test out the list and make sure that, we have the people who need the leads in our community, in our sphere of influence. And so we're trying to expand our influence. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting on. But one thing so back to the conversation I had with our virtual assistant, I asked her, I said, we want to deliver 600 leads per week, right? Which would be like way above and beyond like what we promise on our website and what other providers offer in their lead lists. And that's just top shelf leads that are not replens. They're not designated as a top shelf replen or a top shelf hazmat. Those are all good leads too. And there's plenty of those. And, hiring more people has come up, training our existing team has come up, and we already have like a really solid team. And we've also found that hiring new people, it can be very difficult. It is hard to find good lead generators who will work with transparency and integrity inside of a closed, controlled system that are good at finding leads. I can just tell you that right now, because there's a lot of ways to find leads and deliver leads to an employer. There's only a couple ways to do it with integrity, right? Or one way to do it with integrity. And if that's the type of business you're running as a leadless provider, it can be difficult to find good talent and curate good talent that'll stick around. So anyway, one of the things that she said is she's like, she has friends in the space, and she's like, OA Cheddar has high standards, Grant. She's like, most providers, most people who are most of my people in my in my circle of influence or colleagues and stuff like that are in the online arbitrage space, it's increasingly apparent. Not to mention, we've hired people who have worked for other Amazon sellers or leadless providers. We hire them to come work for us. Not that we go and poach them, but they apply to our jobs, and she knows this because she's working with them, she's training them, and that's what the report is. Man, the standards at OA Cheddar are so much higher than what these lead generators have been exposed to before, or at other businesses. And she said, I think though, Grant, she's like, I think that some of the fast selling leads just fall outside of our standard. She's like, it is possible that we're finding enough leads to meet the goal of 600 top shelf leads, which is really more like, 800 total for the week across all 10 or 11 lists. And she's like, but oftentimes the fastest selling leads just fall outside of our profit standard. She's like, I think if you had some of these standards that we described, and I think the one that she really pulled out was a $3, what was it? A $3 net profit. If we could go down to a $3 net profit, but increase the ROI, which I think we went with a 50%, Taylor. I think we did. We went to a $3 net profit and a 50%. Mm-hmm. And then I said, okay, I'm willing to do that, but I got to see more sales per month at a minimum as well. And she was like, I think we'll find the leads. And so that's really kind of where this sort of blossomed out of, was that conversation with her, and getting her feedback and having her report to me as a lead generator that, one, we're very strict, and two, there's really fast selling leads that fall just outside of the OA Cheddar minimum standards. And so that's where this experiment really came from. Taylor, I'm going to pass that back to you. So.
No problem. Thank you for explaining that too. We're always looking for feedback from our users and subscribers, but also we want to get feedback from our team, because they're the ones in the trenches finding the leads every single day. Before we get back into the presentation, I forgot to do this in the beginning, so I'm going to do this now. But if you guys are watching this and you are interested in joining an OA Cheddar lead list, head to oacheddar.com and use promo code YouTube50 at checkout, and you're going to receive 50% off your first month of lead lists. Now, this can be one list or it can be multiple lists. So use the code YouTube50 at checkout at oacheddar.com and get 50% off your first lead list, whether it's one of our Feta list, one of our OA Cheddar lists, or our Gouda lists. You'll get the same discount on all of them. So I wanted to just drop that in there, because usually I drop that in the beginning, but forgot to do that. New streaming system. So let's go ahead and dive back in.
I just want to say real quick to those of you who are thinking about joining OA Cheddar, first of all, it's for people selling in the U.S. Market. It's for people selling in the U.S. market only, and it's so you need to be doing that, and also like you pretty much need to reside in the United States, right? We will sometimes allow people who are out of Europe or Canada and selling in the US market join our list. But if we go through our auditing system, every time we bring in a new customer, we audit that customer. We have some things set up to try to track down who they are, where they're from. And if we can find out that maybe you're just not, maybe you're a virtual assistant or something like that, and trying to use our data to your own advantage as maybe a lead list, a lead generator, we're going to boot you off. We do that all the time. People try to buy lead lists that are actually not sellers. They actually work for sellers. So clue into some of the fraudulent stuff that goes on with lead lists and just the OA space in general. If you're hiring virtual assistants, you should be doing it very carefully. And again, like I mentioned, in a closed system. But anyway, so I wanted to point that out. This is for United States sellers and actual legit sellers only, not for foreigners.
We take security very serious here. If you haven't watched our video talking about our security, go watch it. We have our special guest, the dog.
Yeah.
Real quick, because I love playing with this, about the promo code. Does that work for Cheddar Black? No. And I'm sure I know you were joking when you said this, but no, that is not that code is not applied to Cheddar Black. Cheddar Black is our Q4 lead package. We come out with it every year. It sells out every year. It sells out sometimes within minutes. Last year, I think it sold out within less than an hour. But we did also raise the price last year. But we will be talking about that here in the next couple weeks. You guys just be mindful of your email inbox and see the link to join that webinar to understand what this year's Cheddar Black package is going to be. And if not, please go to oacheddar.com. If you want to get on our email list, you can add your email list there, or your email to our list there, and you will get up-to-date information. And then Michael Clark, it is not easy being cheesy. No, it is not. Our standards are high here at OA Cheddar. We take security is a very high priority for us here at OA Cheddar, and that means it is not always easy. And then follow up Michael Black. He is a very happy Cheddar Black subscriber. So shout out to Michael. Thank you so much for being a Cheddar Black subscriber. We are excited to launch this year's package. So, all right, back to the presentation. So these were our standards that we tried and tested out. So what are the results? Well, let's go ahead and break it down. First, we're going to be talking about the $3 net profit with a 50% ROI and 30 sales per month. So here's what I did. I separated out each lead. I went through and I looked at the different standards, and I pulled out some of the leads that I liked. I'm showing a 365-day Keepa graph because I think it's important. One of the things about these leads that we've been telling the team is we want to see consistency in the price. Okay, we want to see fast selling leads and we want consistency. Those two things are important because a lot of these leads are going to be stuff that you could probably replenish and buy up over and over again. So this first lead buy cost was $6.34, FBA price $15.94, which left you with a $3.93 net profit lead. This would not have made it to our list previously because it was lacking its net profit by 7 cents. The ROI on this lead was 62%, and the 90-day sales rank average was 1,053 in the beauty and personal care. And then it's hard, you know what, you can't see it. Let me remove our little badge here. Our average 180-day buy box price was $16.09, with your average 180-day BSR at $8.96. This lead, according to Keepa, was getting about in 30 days was getting about 76 sales rank drops in those 30 days. And I will say, when you're talking about a rank in the less than 2,000 in beauty and personal care, that item is flying. It is selling way more than 76 times per month. That is a very fast moving lead. And the other thing I want to point out too with this is the consistency in that price. Over a 6-month period, it was averaging buy box of $16.09, which is actually a little bit higher. This would have probably made it as a $4 net profit lead, 40% ROI, but we shared it to you guys earlier on because it fell within this newer standard, so you could take action on it more quickly. Next lead, if you guys see the badge, this means that is a newly found lead. We have never found this lead before in our past. So this is a brand new lead to OA Cheddar because of these standards. Buy cost $7.20, FBA price was $18.40 with a net profit of $3.65. That brings us to a 51% ROI with about an 83,000 rank in the toy and games category. 180-day buy box price $18.17. So again, looking for that consistency in the price. When we shared this, you'll notice on the Keepa graph in the more recent months, the price is actually higher than what it is. But when we shared this, we shared of what is the consistent FBA price that it's selling at. What is realistic, right? And so around $18 is where that kind of lands. 118,000, 180-day BSR average with 37 drops in the last 30 days. Again, sales rank drops don't necessarily mean sales. There, we look at a multitude of different stats to determine sales per month, but it is a very easy way to kind of encompass, a rough idea of, how fast is a bad boy selling. Next, again, another newly found lead for us, $7.79 buy cost, $18.49 selling price, brings us a net profit of $3.37. An ROI percentage of around 43%, 28,000 90-day sales rank average in the health and household category. So pretty low rank for that category. In the last 180 days, the buy box price sat around $16.82. And the 180-day BSR average was around 38,000. And then in the last 38 days, you had a sales rank drop of about 42. And so one thing I like about this, when we're looking at the year long, you see that competition spike come in on this lead, but because it's selling so quickly, it doesn't stick around for too long. You can see it took, around the middle part of June, the offers spiked up, and then around the middle part of July, the offers were trending down a good ways and are now at a low. So these faster selling, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
These faster selling leads, what we found with them is the risk is a lot lower. The faster the item sells, having it end up on a lead list and having a competition spike means less, because there's going to be a rebound happening much sooner.
The other thing I noticed, I did have something to say on that last slide. The other thing I noticed on there too, and I'm not saying that this is a for sure deal. I mean, maybe the Keepa data digging into it would reveal this to be true or not. But it's interesting to see the merchant fulfill offer holding strong at $25. Because one of the things I've been seeing people talk about a lot is like merchant fulfilling kind of being like the new, Amazon hack right now, right? Like where, if Amazon can't get the product to a customer fast enough via fulfillment by Amazon, then it'll default to the FBM offers, and those FBM offers can actually often price higher than FBA or even the buy box, which I find super interesting. And especially, and here's just a quick little tip, it's something that I've been seeing people talk about, and I haven't tested it out myself. This theory of now FBM being able to price higher than FBA or the low FBA price or buy box price. I think on these low BSR products, though, the fast sellers, there's enough opportunity for sales that maybe you could do that. And so I don't think it would work on something that sells, 10, 20 times a month, but maybe something that sells 50 to 100 or 200 times a month, and those FBM offers can capture. But another little thing that I've been seeing people talk about to give themselves a competitive edge, even over FBA, is 0-day fulfillment. I have not gone into my settings and changed this because I'm not sure I'm ready to be, that on demand with merchant fulfill stuff. But I have been doing some more merchant fulfill lately. And that's my understanding, is you can do a 0-day fulfillment on your account, and that can give you a competitive edge over even FBA offers, because you can, essentially get the product fulfilled and on its way to the customer faster than even Amazon can.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, if I remember correctly about this lead, is it was pretty small, very easy to merchant fulfill, slip it into a padded envelope, less than a pound. So your shipping costs are pretty low. Now I'm seeing in the comments, these lower net profit leads, are they great if you're using a prep center? Maybe not. Okay. Maybe you want to consider sending these items to your house and sending them in yourself and saving yourself on those fees. But it's giving you more options. The other thing I'll say about these fast moving leads is, on a lot of them, if you're looking at the December graph, there's opportunities to sell it even higher than the net profit of, around $3 to $4. It's just when we found it in that moment of time, that's where it was, and it fell within that standard. But you'll see, like, if you're on this graph right here, and it's kind of tough to tell. I wish I could kind of zoom around, but we didn't want to expose these leads because, again, these were actually on Cheddar lists. But you'll see that price even pumps up to about the $25 range, in sometimes in its history. So wouldn't be crazy to think that it would also, sell at a higher price than $18.49. Again,
I want to address that too, because it's an interest. I've noticed that too, as I've been doing more sourcing on my own, factoring in the prep center cost. I mean, for me, it really affects like shoes and bundles. So I'm probably going to have to actually set up with another prep center so I can do some more bundling in shoes. Well, actually, yeah, some shoes and bundling that it's like, man, I would buy this pair of shoes if it costs like $1.50, maybe $2 to prep it. But when my prep center is charging me $4 to prep a pair of shoes, I'm like, it kind of just rules out a few. And it sounds crazy, but it kind of rules it out. Cause it's like, I don't want to put all this investment into making, a $5 bill, but if I could make an $8 bill, maybe I would.
right.
So anyway, I think though there's something to remember too, though. These are good leads, and there are businesses that are buying these and flipping these leads like crazy. And I agree, especially if you're like overseas. Now, if you're not using a prep, if you have the ability to not use a prep center and ship stuff to yourself, then sure. Then now the cost of, because there's always a cost to prep and send to FBA, period, whether it's a prep center or whether it's you, right? And so maybe if you can set it to yourself, at least you get to, personally absorb that, you get to use your own time, and it doesn't actually have a dollar against your business, but it definitely has a factor or a cost against your business, because your time has value too. And
Yep.
that's super important to remember. Maybe where this could make more sense is if you could do volume, if you were able to buy, 30, 40, 50, 100 over time of these, and kind of get to a consistent level of like really buying volume of this, then that could really be a good use of your time when you're doing the prep yourself. Um, but I think at the end of the day, it's like, imagine if you had an employee, right, working for you, and you knew, and this is how I would look at it. Like when I had someone shipping for me full time, like as an employee, we wouldn't not buy stuff because it had too small of a profit. So if the profit was guaranteed, and I knew I could make some sort of profit in addition to the time it took him to prep, like it was worth it, because one, I had to pay for his time, right? I had to make sure he was busy. That was
Right.
part of it as well. And so I don't know. I get what you're saying. There's definitely like an issue there, and maybe it's a balancing act and something worth testing. Because again, if you can spend $1 to prep and make two, well, it might be worth it, you know,
Right.
especially with a buy cost of $7.79. Your risk is like with prep is like, $9, and you might be able to make $2. That's like 25% return. Like it's pretty good, if you're comparing it to like, the stock market, which takes a lot longer, or
Yep.
even real estate.
No, very good point. All right, so moving on to our other new standard. Before we do, I just want to pull out a couple of comments. Love these new standards from one of our Facebook users. Give me that all day. So now we're, looks like we got some love on the lower net profit but faster selling products. So let's start talking about another standard that gives you a little bit more net profit into your pocket. So again, newly found lead. Okay, we're looking at the year-long graph. Okay, so Amazon hasn't been a threat in over 6 months, but you're buying this lead for $11.50, FBA price $24.99, which yields a $4.46 cent or dollar net profit with a 39% ROI. Sales rank being under 2,000 in the grocery and gourmet and food category. So this item is selling, and it's selling fast and at a good rate. Average 180-day buy box price was sitting around $26.39, so actually higher than what it was when we found this lead. And then with the average BSR range in the last 6 months being around 1,154, with Keepa saying 69 sales rank drops in the last 30 days. So again, an item that you can buy. Price is pretty stable and over the last 6 months. So something that you could buy, deeper into and sell more quickly. Again, prioritizing faster selling leads and not worrying so much about that ROI percentage is yielding some great results. On to the next lead. This is a lead that we have found previously, but it was shared again because there was an opportunity here. So $13.40 buy cost, $28.50 FBA price, bringing in a $4.86 net profit. That ROI sits around 36%. Your 90-day BSR range average is 31,431, and that is in the beauty and personal care category. Again, low ranking, very fast selling category in the beauty and personal care. The last 180 days, buy box price sat around $28.86. Again, looking at consistency. I can see here in the Keepa graph too that there are multiple times where it was selling for over $30, some around $33, $34. And since if you look at between May and August, you'll see the price is actually higher than when we found it. But again, that price is consistent. You can look at this price and be around $28. You're still making a healthy ROI, but it's a faster selling lead. This lead wouldn't have made our standards the day that it was found because that ROI percentage was at 36%, not at 40%. And it was less than $5. So here's another example of a lead that we wouldn't have shared because it wouldn't have fit within our standards, but we did share it under these new standards or these additional standards. And it's an opportunity. Especially if it's selling, if you can get sales above that $30 to $32 range, you're making yourself a pretty healthy net profit.
These are some of my favorite Keepa graphs of all time. I just call them bouncy graphs. Like everything is just bouncy. Like I don't care that it goes as low as $23, at times, as long as it's bouncing around, especially in the last 90 to 180 days.
Yep.
I don't know, especially with offer count too. Like you said, you see offer count come up and then it falls and then back up and it falls. I mean, you just know sellers are making money when you see that. Um, and yeah. There was another comment I wanted to higher
So I
standard on bundles.
just got a question here: is what list would these new standards be on? Are they on all lists or just specific ones? These are on all Cheddar lists. So all Cheddar and even Gouda lists, these new standards or these additional standards have been adopted during this trial period.
Yeah, we're not 100%, like, this is all experimental. Like, we wanna make sure that our users are happy, and, one of the ways we measure that is feedback. These calls, you guys can tell us we're idiots, and we'll hear you. We might get offended, but we'll hear you. Also, you can send us an email and yell at Cindy and tell her how much, you don't like what we're doing, and that happens on occasion. Very rare that Cindy gets yelled at. She doesn't have to deal with
Don't
that
yell
crap.
at Cindy. Don't yell
Don't
at
yell at
Cindy. I'm just gonna say don't yell at Cindy's way too nice. You can yell at me, Taylor at OACheddar.com.
There you go.
Bring
Yeah,
me
yeah.
all your complaints. I'll be more than happy to.
But at the end of the day, it really boils down to how much retention, how well are we retaining subscribers? And that's really what's going to measure and probably be the dictator. Now we'll ask, and we'll probably send out another poll and get feedback from our active subscribers and stuff. It helps when our active subscribers actually participate in polls and stuff. When we ask for the feedback, because then it really does drive like our decision making. But at the end of the day, like, it's going to be the churn rate. Like how many of the subscribers have we taken on in the last 30 days that we've retained? And if we
Right.
see that our churn rate goes down and we have better retention of subscribers, then we know we're onto something. We know that the leads we're delivering. And again, this is all in the spirit of delivering more leads, not lowering our standards. That's why we didn't say we're not just lowering the ROI and net standard. We're creating additional standards. So while we retain the standards we've always had, we've added additional ones, and they fluctuate. So while we say, hey, we're looking for a $3 net profit, which is lower than we've ever accepted before, it has to have a 50% ROI, which is higher than the 440 or is the same as the 530 we've had. Even 530. So it's the highest ROI minimum we've ever had, and we're requiring that it has 30 sales per month minimum, right? So we're increasing all of the other metrics while we're saying, okay, can we lower one of the metrics, raise the bar on the other metrics to basically just create another corridor of leads that we can bring in. And again, all in the spirit of like, a leadless provider is going to deliver you generally 7 to 10 leads a day. We already do deliver 10 or more leads a day with our top shelf, and then our top shelf replens, which are just leads that and every list provider does it. We just call them replens. And there's a whole rigmarole systems and thoughts and standards and things that we've put around those, and what qualifies as a top shelf replen, what qualifies as something we've delivered before that can be a top shelf lead again and not a top shelf replen. And I'm not going to get into all of that. Point is, we already deliver 10 leads a day. We want to deliver like 15. Like, I want to deliver 12, 13, 14 leads a day consistently, and just like blow the socks off of our customers and retain 100% of subscribers. Like, I want no one to cancel their subscriptions. That's why we're doing this. It's not good to, can we make our job easier? It's no, can we actually, basically, Gabe uses this analogy. How many different ways can we cut the cheese? Right? Like, how many different ways can we cut the cheese? What can we do with our current input? And this is where the VA I spoke with, her name's Rubia, actually. The VA I spoke with when I had this conversation, it was so enlightening, and it was good to hear it come from her and not myself. But just like, Grant, there's other ways we can actually create more results with the same amount of work. And when you're already spending quite a bit to fund a very, very tight and a very secure team, that's very loyal and focused on OA Cheddar success only, and not like double dipping, like, the more we can create without increasing costs is actually pretty vital. And so that's where we're at with this. We're trying to create more cheddar without having to raise our costs significantly to do so. So anyway, kind of riffing, and I like to do that, but
no, keep riff away. I was want to pull another comment. I agree. I like this new direction. Prepping my own stuff right now, so appreciate the merchant fulfill suggestion as well. Yes, you keep hustling. I love the fact that you're doing your own prep, and yes, merchant fulfill is starting to rise up in the ranks, I guess, of strategies.
I've been doing more merchant fulfilling, guys. I'm like literally trying to sell off. Like I just sold off this huge, ridiculous like tank of a desk, steel case. Actually, it's like super heavy. I sold it for $100. The thing is worth like to the right person like $1,000. But I'm trying to clear out my little corner of my garage so I can create my own little prep center again. So that like for the point that Scott made about bundles being expensive with prep centers and stuff, and they are. Shoes can be expensive with certain prep centers. Like I'm starting to I just paid $800 in 2 weeks to have shoes prepped. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm not gonna, no way, no way.
Right.
When it should, in my opinion, be like $300. And so I'm basically gonna start setting myself up to have all the shoes shipped to my house because I can bang those out. Open the box, take a quick look, make sure you got the right shoe here and there, left and right size, right match. Close the box, stick a rubber band on it, throw it in a box. It's not that hard. And and then obviously throw a sticker on it. I wouldn't say it's much more than most other products in terms of making sure that it matches the listing and doing the things, the due diligence you have to do to make sure it's a match before you send it into FBA. That's a little rant. But bringing in shoes, bringing in bundles, and also bringing in heavy items and hazmat items, right? These are all categories that everybody just they evade, and they try to avoid it because it's a little extra work. And but the thing is like that those little strategies, merchant fulfilling, bringing in heavy items that you can ship right out of your own space, prepping your own bundles so that you can actually sell profitable bundles and not have to pay $3 or something ridiculous to have somebody throw them in a poly bag for you. The hazmat, bringing in the perfumes or whatever else and that sell well and being able to ship those right out of your place, testing out fast moving listings that where merchant fulfill might be able to hold. I mean, again, you're looking at this graph and merchant fulfill just holds at a steady, what is that, $32 and some change, while FBA's, hanging out in the $24 range. Like, what does that mean? Right? Does like test that out? Are the merchant fulfill sellers actually making sales at the higher price? I would suspect they are. So
you see the buy box go shoot up. I mean, you can see around, I wish I could zoom in on this and we'll probably maybe change some things in the future, but you see where FBA is priced much lower than merchant fulfill, and every once in a while merchant fulfill is still getting the buy box, even though there's a difference of, I would guess, about $8, on a $30 item. I mean, that just kind of goes to show that merchant fulfill is starting to win. Buy box is not as FBA is not as favored as it used to be, right? Amazon wants to get items to customers quickly, and if merchant fulfill is the way that's going to happen, they're going to prioritize and show merchant fulfill offers. So Grant, we got to keep going, because if not, we'll be here for 2 hours.
Well, we're having fun, and we don't have to vet the other leads. I want to point one thing out. I've been doing Amazon flips, merchant fulfill, right? Like legit, like Amazon flips, and a couple of them I actually mistakenly shipped to my house instead of the prep center. But hey, it's selling. But big items like 30-pound boxes, and I'm like, oh, this is so profitable. It makes such good money, and Amazon just keeps lowering the price. $250, almost half the price of like a $500 item. And I've sold now 5 of them, right? And I wish I would have bought in 20, honestly, but right. These are big items, that are, and I'm making like $80 a piece every time I ship one out of my garage. Because for me, it wouldn't be worth shipping into Amazon. The boxes, I think, are even like too big for FBA. I probably have to put them on a pallet or something. So anyway, sorry, I'll let you go.
No, I like it. Some of the most successful arbitrage sellers that I have known, they do stuff like that. They try hazmat, they do merchant fulfill. They're not afraid to ship and buy larger items and merchant fulfill those. Wherever the money can be made, they're making it. So for those who are watching, I mean, if your strategy is I'm just going to buy, send to my prep center and send to FBA and that's it, but you're also wondering like, how do I increase my sales? Differentiate. Try some new things. Don't be afraid to buy those bigger items that you're going to slap a label on and send out to the customer when they order, because other than taking up some space in your garage, that's about it. It doesn't take a ton of work. I mean, you flip those bike carriers and how long would it take you to, would you say, from receiving to processing the shipment and getting it dropped off?
I mean, receiving them simple. It gets delivered to my house. I throw them in the garage. If I make a sale, I pull off. I use some sticker remover, some undo, I think is what we call it. It's called, and remove some stickers, that I don't want. And I've even like gone as far as reusing the little slip that Amazon slaps on the box and taking the packing slip out, slipping mine in, and throwing a piece of tape over it. Like I don't even, not a big deal. Even though I did finally find, I do have these little envelopes, little sleeves that I can replace those with. But yeah, I mean, a couple sticker removals, throw the shipping label on it. It probably takes like, I don't know, minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm literally making like $80 in 5 minutes to 10 minutes at the most. If I can do 3 or 4, like this weekend, I sold 3 in one day. So, I probably spent like, 30 minutes, getting them, if that. I mean, probably 20 to 30 minutes getting them ready. And then luckily for me, the UPS store is just right down the road. So, 10 minute, both directions combined 10 minutes. Simple. Yeah.
Like simple. All right. So moving on to our next lead. This is a variation lead, so I want to be transparent about that. Sales rank movement means less on a variation listing, but offer count movement does speak to the velocity that this item is selling at. So 1348 for buy cost, 2813 FBA price, net profit brings you around $5. ROI is 37% with a 50,000 rank, 90-day sales rank average in the clothing and shoe category. This item has an average 180-day buy box price of $29.44. Again, looking for consistency in our prices. 180-day BSR range average of 54,000 with sales rank drops being around 42. Keep in mind, variation listing. And I want to also point out with this, if I'm looking at the selling price, yeah, you're looking at an average around $29 over the last 3 months. New lead found. Again, never found this lead before, but we did under these additional standards. So $15 buy cost with a $31 FBA price. Net profit sits around $4.87 with a 33% ROI. 90-day average of 119,000 in the toy and game category. So would love to see, under 100,000, but around 120,000 is still not that bad. It is a pretty fast selling item. Look what happened on this item in December, right? Look at what happened last year, and then look where it's currently sitting at right now. So this is definitely something Q4 related that does sell well. Keepa puts this at 30-day sales rank drops at 50. So again, consistent price, good selling lead, opportunity to buy this now, right? Because of these additional standards. Then when the selling price did rise up enough to actually fit within the original OA Cheddar standards. So that means an opportunity to the subscribers who got this lead. They're able to stock up now in preparation for December. And if the offer count continues to stay low, you could be seeing a very healthy December and November with a lead like this. All right, moving on to our $6 net category with a 20% ROI and 20% of sales. Grant, this was probably my favorite category that I looked at because I did like the higher net profit. So let's dive into those. Again, newly found lead, guys. We wouldn't have found this if it wasn't for these new standards. Buy cost $29.99 with an FBA price of $50.44. That brings in a net profit of $7.80 and a 26% ROI. This is holding a 2,000 rank in the last 90 days in the video game category. Okay, you can tell by the offer count movement and the sales rank spikes, this thing is flying. In 180 days, the average buy box price was sitting around $52.99. Again, looking for price consistency. That is super important to me with these leads. The average BSR over the last 6 months is 2,321, with an average 30-day sales rank drop of 103 drops. Okay, so this is a very fast selling item. Wouldn't have landed on our list previously because of that ROI standard, but if you can snag these up, it's a video game. You're sliding it into an envelope if you're merchant fulfilling. They're super light and easy to pack up for FBA, and you're cranking. So if you can get your hand on a bunch of these leads, or a high quantity of this lead, you could be sitting at a pretty good selling item. All right, next item, again, newly found lead. I can't stress enough how many more leads that were brand new and unique to OA Cheddar that we found with these additional standards. It was really promising. So buy cost sitting around $90 with an FBA price of $124.41. That brings us a net profit of $18.35 with an ROI of around 20%. Our 90-day average BSR is sitting around 25,000 in the electronics category. Okay. And a 180-day buy box price of $122.25. Okay. With an average 6-month BSR average of 70,500. Kiva puts us at 30 or 120 sales rank drops in the last 30 days. So again, faster selling stuff. What we're seeing is competition means a lot less. You see with the spike happen around March, and you see how quickly those offers went away, but the price never really was hit too hard. Right, you're looking at roughly an average price of around like $110 to $115, which is still going to be bringing you in a profit. But with it selling as quickly as it can, you can hold on to something like this and sell it for even more. And you see the sales rank has only gotten faster over the last year. So I'm curious to see what a lead like this does in the next 4 months when we get closer to Q4. But yeah, just all in all, pretty good. Grant, do you have anything to say on this one?
No, I mean, I think Debbie Zilberman probably likes this one. I want to thank you, first of all, for being frank, because that's really what we try to do here, is be super just upfront and the way it is. But you mentioned, I found that that list with a large number of sellers has more chance of tanking prices. So I actually only buy items with much higher ROI and profit on all lists I use. I think this is where, you could use this example on the screen where 50 plus sellers came in. Again, this would not meet a normal lead list standard that I've seen. And it had 50 sellers on it, but you notice the price really did not change much. It still kind of hung out in that, I don't know, if I had to guess, somewhere in that $120 range. So profitable. And I think that's kind of like this. It goes both ways, right? These standards that we're offering goes both ways. We're going with lower net profit and higher velocity, but we're also going with lower ROI, right? Higher net profit, minimum standard, and high velocity. And I think so. We're kind of bumping on both edges of leads that, again, would not normally meet the kind of the middle ground standard that most lead lists, including ourselves, have been using for years, since really lead list day one. And I also want to point out too that listings, I source off of lists with up to 55 sellers. We've been doing it now since 2020 full time. We've sold, probably $5 million with online arbitrage since 2020. And all of that pretty much is sourced off of OA Cheddar, and it has as much as 55 sellers on it. I think that certain types of, online arbitrage leads are going to tank whether it's on a lead list or not. And so I think that's really just probably, slower moving items where maybe, too many sellers jump on it. But again, more leads per list, is going to mean more inventory dollars per seller per lead. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think that just, again, kind of just looking at the grand scheme of what we're trying to do, we are trying to actually, what we're doing should actually have a positive impact in reducing competition, because more leads should mean less, with the same amount of sellers should mean less competition. And I just want to show you, and some of this is Coach, right? We all know that Coach, got restricted for sellers, and so these first couple of days, we sold off quite a bit of Coach, and we're still selling it off. But I've been looking through it; it's like now few and far between. But we've been, really aggressively investing into OA Cheddar online arbitrage leads over like the last month or so, and really shooting for $5,000 a day, Monday through Friday. I've even been doing some work on the weekends, and there's been some Amazon flips in the mix too, but not any crazy, maybe less than $10,000 worth of Amazon to Amazon flips that I've invested in over the last several weeks. But you can kind of see, like, this is what the store looks like right now. My phone is about to die, but we're in that. I want to see if I can focus. We're hitting like in the $7,000 a day range, which is what we hoped for. Like we're trying to get to the $7,000 a day range because we want to sell $200,000 a month. We want to try to see if we can earn at least $20,000 net profit or gross profit. You could say after Amazon fees, before prep fees, and the cost of the part-time effort that we put into sourcing and buying stuff. And trying to prove that, like, hey, with OA Cheddar, we can scale. And I think as we approach this, one thing I would tell you is that it's very realistic to have a relatively healthy online arbitrage store and sell as much as $10,000 per month with just one OA Cheddar list. Now, granted, I'm coming from my own perspective of being relatively ungated on most things, and so take that for what it's worth. But we're experimenting now. Can we actually sell $200,000 with the 10 or so lists that we have? You could say 11 with surplus, which would mean that a seller could realize up to $20,000 a month in consistent sales on Amazon with one OA Cheddar list, being me as our store as the example. I say me because I own the business, but it's really our store, myself and Taylor. Yeah. And Charles, and that's really it. And we're all very part-time in the operation. I'm working maybe a little more than I have in the past because of trying to get that budget spent. But really, Taylor, what have we done like to try to, and again, let me point this out. We charge $149 a month for a list.
Right.
And if I can prove that we can sell $20,000 on average with 10 lists or 11 lists, let's say, so $20,000 per list, and earn at least $2,000, not including eBay liquidation, because I put all of my removal orders as cost of goods sold in Inventory Lab, and then we liquidate it on eBay, and so all of that is just money. It's profit, right? If you really look at it that way. Cashback and credit card points, I'm not even counting that. It's thousands of dollars a month, right? If I can prove that I can make $2,000 a month per list, like, we're literally talking like $149 is a drop. It's a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of what's possible. If you just, granted, we're not just buying for the first time ever, because we've always over the years, we've sold over 1 million up to 1.7 million in 2021, just buying the data off of the list, not even like doing rabbit trails, because we were so busy with a supplement brand and with OA Cheddar and trying to sell, $2 million in a year. We got to 1.7. So we were only ever buying the fresh data. We weren't doing any rabbit trailing, didn't even have like the mental capacity to go there. And that's one thing we are doing now. Like, we're digging into the variations. Now, we're not sourcing experts. Like, I'm not trying to like, oh, here's a product on Walgreens at this brand. Let me go try to find more items with this brand, or let me go try to run scrapes and run it through tactical arbitrage. Like, that's for somebody else to do. That's not what we're doing. I'm just talking, like, when I say rabbit trailing, we're literally just buying like more of variations and stuff of like shoes, clothing, and makeup and whatever else. And we're going through the sales of our store. We're looking at the stuff that's selling and going through and running it through CheddarSoft and going, okay, can we buy these things again? Like, we sold it today. Let me go check Inventory Lab. Okay, cool. We sold it today. Inventory Lab shows me that I had 5. I'm down to 2 units. I've sold 3 units in the last 10 days. I should probably go buy like 10 more units because the competition is still relatively stable. It hasn't gone crazy and the price isn't tanking, right? And so we're buying those types of things. And to be fair, I am looking at I'm just total transparency. I don't want to like ever like just like we are the last people to blow smoke up your rear. And I see that a lot. And I just want to like be the anti, guru bullshit guy. And so be full transparency. As I said earlier on the call, I am testing out some other online arbitrage lead lists. One of them in particular right now. I'm only testing out one at a time because I really don't have the capacity or time to look at leads from more than one other lead list from a competitor provider. And I'm paying for it using my email, my name. I'm not trying to hide. If they want to cancel my subscription because I'm the owner of OA Cheddar, they're welcome to do so. But that hasn't been an issue. And so I'm buying it. And again, I'm going to be honest. There's some good leads, right? There's some stuff where I'm like, this would never make it to OA Cheddar for a variety of reasons. Probably half of the leads I look at, I'm like, we would exclude this from our list. We just would not deliver this for a variety of reasons. But the other, 3 leads a day, I'm like, I'll take the time to buy that. And I'll add that to my Cheddar Soft account and maybe buy it again in the future. So full transparency, right? There are a few like 1% or 2% of leads coming from some other source, and probably like not even that, honestly, because I'm like literally spending maybe a couple $100 a day, and our budget for inventory on another lead list, and our budget for inventory is $5,000 a day. We're like trying to spend $5,000 a day from OA Cheddar leads alone. And again, we're not even buying like, and you talk about too much competition or whatever, too many sellers, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. That's fair. But we're only buying like 40 different leads a day, but we're delivering like 120.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of leads that like I'm not even putting my dollars into. And I know that there's a lot of sellers and a lot of subscribers on the lead list that aren't putting their dollars into. At the end of the day, certain leads are going to work for different sellers. And
I want to make a point on that though. Is even though we might not buy every single lead that lands onto our list, because we have our own standards, right? And there's certain items like we're not going to be doing glass because our prep center doesn't allow us to do glass, even though there are leads that we're like, we might just start having this sent to Grant's house and sending it in ourselves because these are good leads and they're packaged perfectly well. And we gotta assume they're not just going to send us a glass bowl, without any packaging around the box. So our prep
jobs will do that.
But we do have our own standards with that. But it's those leads, like, and I hear folks, say like, they say, oh, this is it seems like it's kind of slow selling. It's like, well, if you think that, how many other people are also thinking that? And have you ever tested it? Because I've bought in our stuff, the stuff that lands on our list that, it's not a 10 out of 10 type lead. It's slower selling, but there's some profit there. You know what? And they sell. Sure enough, we buy them, they sell. You don't see the list hit. If you look at some of our replens, and you look back at the history, you can see that like there's not a ton of people that jump on every single listing. There's also the fact that not everyone sources their lead list as soon as it goes live, that there's out of stocks that happen all the time. Promo codes end, early on throughout, in the middle of the day or sometimes in the morning. So, my recommendation, jump on the lead list early. Don't be afraid to test buy, and don't make preconceived assumptions about a lead because you feel like, I feel like this isn't good enough, right? Try it out. You'll probably be surprised, right? If you're, now this is a point on those lower net profit leads. If you're a newer seller, right, and you look at, you looked at some of those leads, you went, well, after my prep costs, I'm only going to make a $1, $2 in profit, but it's selling very well and the price is consistent. What a great thing to invest money into, so you can make a small amount of profit, but you're increasing your sales, increasing your feedbacks that you're going to get, increasing your ratings, so you can come into listings and be more competitive, so you can get ungated into other brands and categories. So you could look at it through the lens of, well, this doesn't make me 100% ROI and I'm not making at least $10. It's not worth my time. But then you wonder why you can't be competitive. It's like, hey, here's an option for you to drop. Like Grant said, a lot of the buy costs on those items were pretty low. So you can invest, $100 to $200 into an item, buy 20, 30 units, get 20, 30 sales in a month. And that just ups your feedback. It ups your successful customer rate. Amazon's going to see that, yep, this person, when they sell an item to a customer, they're happy. We're going to reward them with more buy box and with, being able to sell in certain categories and brands that might be gated for others. So we know whenever you're doing this business, get creative, look at, the silver linings and everything, right? There's very few times I look at a lead that we deliver and go, well, that was a miss. There are definitely times where I go, what the heck? I go to the team and we talk, why did we pass this? But most of the time I can look at someone and go, okay, I can see why we passed that. Right. That's a good lead, right? I might not be perfect for me, right? Maybe that's not part of my strategy, but someone will benefit from that lead.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some leads that I'm looking at on a competitor's list where I'm like, this would not make it to OA Cheddar. It would not meet the OA Cheddar sales velocity standard for a variation, but I'm willing to test it. Literally,
Right.
I'm like, I'm glad we didn't deliver this to a certain degree. I wouldn't mind it being like an honorable mention or like a bonus lead or like way overflow lead kind of thing. But I'm willing to test it because it's unique. It's like a weird. It's actually really weird, Taylor. It's the one I'm referencing in my mind is a 2-pack of shirts from Walmart. I won't say the brand, and then they're sold. The shirts are sold separately on Amazon, right? And,
Yeah.
and you can tell that's like it's a strategy. Some seller is like, "Ooh, I'm going to take these 2-packs and I'm going to separate the 2 shirts and I'm going to list them all as individual shirts on Amazon because somebody's going to buy it," and they do. Right, they
Yep.
buy it and it's like and it was very profitable. So I was like, it's a very slow mover, but shoot, like we're talking 100 to 130% ROI. That would not meet the cheddar sales velocity standard, but there's so much profit and even a history of like during Christmas anyway. So I'm testing it. Even leads that don't even meet our standard, I'm willing to test. To your point, and the other thing I want to point out too, like you know, this is where I think lead lists are so valuable because you can pay yourself or you can spend your own time. I don't know what you value your time at. Hopefully over as an Amazon seller, like $30 to $50 an hour minimum is what you're valuing your own personal time at. And you can spend your own time doing sourcing and finding your own leads. And then hopefully you have a pretty good, low cost per lead, when you use your own time. And if you're using virtual assistants, hopefully your cost per lead is, I mean, at least as low as $5 a lead. OA Cheddar leads are less than a dollar. They're like 75 cents. And when let's just say Walgreens has a promotion, they have a site-wide sale or some other, coupon is available on a different, competitor website. Maybe it's Nike.com because they've had a big, massive, back to school sale and people love selling Nike like they used to love selling Coach. Do you want to be the seller who can go into your Cheddarsoft account and has months and months and months of historical online arbitrage lead data, right, to extract, sort, and then start analyzing listings very quickly, like actionable online, like highly likely actionable online arbitrage leads, with source and Amazon already matched up. You do all that work, right? Or do you want to go and be the guy that goes to Walgreens and goes, okay, let me pull these ASINs out and then run a TA scan and hope for some decent results in an hour or two, and then have to sort through a bunch of mismatches and junk. And I'm not saying that that's TA has its place. It's very good. It's a very, very useful and necessary tool. And thank God it exists. I'm just saying, do you want maybe do that in addition to having a massive bank of data that you've purchased from leadless providers for like 10 cents on the dollar compared to like what it would cost to do it with your own time or with your own virtual assistants. And again, you should do all of those things. If you want to be the expert lead generator, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm a different mind, right? I'm a different person. And I can't imagine investing my time into that. Cause I still love the hunt, right? I love the hunt, but what I love doing when I'm hunting is winning really rapidly. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that I could do the hunt and like find a couple of leads like in an 8-hour shift that I'm like, oh, these are mine, they're exclusive. Okay, well, while Grant's over here and he's dropped $2,000 in like in the last like 3 hours because he has all the leads already. So I prefer to be the seller with the bank of data. I think you should do all things sourcing, but if you're neglecting lead lists, I think you're just missing the boat. You're just missing a huge opportunity. And again, yeah, I don't know. It's just a competitive edge, and I think it's just like anything else. If you have lead lists, but you maybe don't have a virtual assistant, well, maybe the guy who used lead lists and has a virtual assistant, and I'm actually doing that, by the way. we went and I'm working with a virtual assistant now who's going through my store and the results of our store and going through the leads that OA Cheddar delivers on the daily, looking at the sales, looking at what's selling on Amazon today, looking at what coupons are available today from leads that are delivered, and then trying to pull out and extract replens right out of my CheddarSoft account where all my leads are. So I'm leveraging that virtual assistant for that role. But it's someone I trust highly that's worked with us for quite some time. I've built a relationship of trust from that individual. So I would die. I love leadless, and I use my CheddarSoft as much as possible. You rock, Debbie.
You rock, Debbie.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for being a part of the conversation here, because I'm not. I have a lot to say, obviously, and your guys' comments actually stimulate some thoughts, and so I really appreciate just you guys being engaging with us. And property opportunity and profit. I can't remember what your name is. I think you might have mentioned it earlier. It says, "I'm glad Grant's my new cousin." Hey, bro, cuz let's connect. Send me a message or something on Facebook if you could find me.
No, 100%. Last thing I want to speak on too is there are multiple strategies in doing this business, and I commend those who do their own sourcing, who rabbit trail hard. Okay, you guys reap the benefits of that hard work by doing that. I do think that leadless is like a perfect safety net, right? If you have a day where you're rabbit trailing or you're doing your own sourcing, your VA is, and you're having a hard time, right? Or they're having a hard time. It's really nice to have that safety net of knowing hey, I have my lead list. I can source my lead list and I can get a base level of buy costs spent in a day, every single Monday through Friday. All right, Grant, let's rattle off the last few ones of these, and then I think we'll go on a couple of live. So this one is not just full transparency. It only has 145 days on Amazon. So this isn't a full year graph, and it is a variation. But you're buying this for $39.99, selling it for $70, brings you around $11.29 in net profit with a 28% ROI. 90-day sales rank average sits around 11,800 in the clothing and shoe category. Historically, in the last 145 days, that average price has been around $74.11, so a little bit higher than when we originally shared this lead. The 145-day BSR average is 11,000. And it has about 34 sales rank drops in a day, or it's not in a day, in the last 30 days. Again, variation. Sales rank drops don't mean the same. We're looking at offer count movement, which on this one you can see is moving. And we also look at data and offers inside of Keepa and review counts and things like that when we're looking at sales per month. All right, last category is the $10 net profit and the 10% ROI with 20 sales per month. So here's an item, $72 buy cost with $104.31 FBA price, brings in a net profit of $12.42. The ROI sits around 17%, but the average BSR over the last 90 days is 53,963. That is in the health and household category. 180-day buy box price sits around $128.95. So it is higher. But looking at the graph, that also is when offer counts were very low. This item was selling around $200, right? And then you see the price spike of competition came in around April, and you've seen it. You're seeing it slope down, and the offer count is getting less. So my question would be on this one is, normally this wouldn't have been shared on our lead list, but is there an opportunity here? And I would say there definitely is. We're sharing this lead at the tail end of the rebound that is starting to happen. The offer count has dropped. The selling price is slowly starting to go up. So what happens if it keeps on the current pace? Well, you're going to see higher profits because the sales price will increase. Will this bring in more competition? Absolutely. But you can see with the current competition that this item has already had, which is crazy. I mean, this is probably sitting around 85 offers at the peak. It's currently sitting at right now about 35, 40. But it still handles the sales per month are able to handle that competition. And again, this item, who knows what's going to do this Q4, because last Q4 you didn't really have a ton of data to go off of. So I think there's an opportunity here. And one thing about these leads too, the higher buy cost is a barrier of entry that a lot of sellers don't like to go into. All right, newer sellers who don't have as much experience or don't have as much capital, they might not be wanting to invest $72 into an item and do that 3, 4, 5, 10 times, right? But if you're a seller that does have some more capital, this could be an opportunity to spread that capital around. And again, I'm curious to see what would happen to this lead come Q4 this next year. Next lead, again, newly found lead, $65 buy cost, $97 FBA price with an $11.44 net profit, 18% ROI with a 90-day average sales rank of 210,000 in the clothing, shoe, and jewelry category. Now, this is a clothing item. It is not a variation. Okay, this is not one of 20 different varieties of the same clothing item. I'm not sure if this is a shoe or clothing item. Can't remember. So when you see those sales ranks, that is on that specific variation. We see a 180-day buy box average of $100 with a average 180-day BSR around 444,000. Okay, don't let that freak you out. Okay, when you're talking about the clothing and shoe category, if you're looking at a listing that does not have variations, okay, the higher rank it is, it doesn't mean that it's a super slow seller just because of the rank. If rank scares you away from opening up a lead, okay, you're doing it wrong. You need to look at Keepa and you need to open up every single lead, because you'll find stuff like this. Yes, it's a high rank. Yes, it's in clothing and shoes, but it's not a variation listing, which means that the data that we're seeing here is pretty precise. Look at that offer count movement as well. Okay, back in May when the price was around, I would guess it's probably around like the low 90s, right? The offers came, they went away. There's an opportunity here for those who might want to jump on it. So our conclusion, based on the data that we have collected so far, it seems clear to us that these additional standards are in fact resulting in good, fast-selling OA leads that our subscribers will be able to use in their own Amazon FBA business. And guys, if you are a member of our Cheddar list and you have been receiving these leads, please let us know if you're liking these the leads that you've been seeing. Let us know if you want to continue to share these leads that fall into these additional standards. We would, your feedback means a ton to us. We're going to keep this going. All right. So technically at the end of this week, we'll have been over with our experiment. But from what we've seen from the data and the lead so far, I think this is the right path that we're on. And we're going to continue to share these additional standards unless you, the users, come back to us and say, stop, go back to your $4, net profit with 40% ROI. Go back to the $5 net with a 30% ROI. Don't share me these faster selling leads that are, profitable. Don't show me these high profit leads that are selling fast. Give us the slower selling stuff, right? If you tell us that, we'll give you what you want. All right. But if you want to see more of these fast actionable leads, please let us know. We got one, Stacy Howell. Thank you for joining us. Yes, please continue. So yes, please leave us a comment if you like to see more of these leads. Other than that, that does it for our presentation. Grant, are you wanting to go over the two leads that we set aside?
I think we should wrap up. I want to thank Maxwell for joining OA Cheddar today, and I also want to thank John. Both signed up, I believe, while we were live here. We have another person who signed up, which I don't have their name. That's okay. I have their email, but no name. But anyway, so just thank you for giving us a shot. And just as a reminder, someone asked in the chat, I'll go ahead and, Taylor's already showing one. So let me unshow. Whoops, there it is. Yeah, YouTube 50. So if you want, is that the right code, Taylor?
YouTube 50 is the right code. Yeah. Yes. Use YouTube 50 at checkout at oacheddar.com.
oacheddar.com, YouTube 50. You guys can use that on as many lead lists as you want. So when you go to the add to cart page, you can add a bunch of lead lists, as many as you'd like to buy. go to the checkout, use that code, you'll get 50% off the first month for all of those subscriptions. And let's see, is there any there's a question here I wanted to talk about real quick. How did you guys increase your profit margin when switching to a prep center? I remembered you mentioned, I think Leah helped you with that during your transition. We didn't really do anything to increase our profit margin. We saved money though, because I had a warehouse, I had a full-time shipper, and that full-time shipper became a part-time buyer and also works for OA Cheddar as part of the quality control team. And so, yeah, basically just reduced our overall cost as a whole. My prep center cost is quite high right now because we're doubling down on inventory. I think it's, as if my margin stays around 10%, I think it's gonna come to somewhere around 30% of that profit, right? So if I make $10,000, I'm gonna spend $3,000 on prep. If I make $20,000, I may spend as much as $6,000 on prep. But again, I think I'm going to start working. We're gonna add another prep center or use me for some prep to reduce the cost on some of the items that we are buying quite a bit of. And so, yeah, that's one of the reasons why too, guys, like the reason, part of the, like, it's experimental to see if we can sell $200,000 a month with OA Cheddar leads, but it's also out of like, need, right? It's like, am I going to continue to when we're at the scale we were at, it's like, there's just really not enough meat on the bone to really make this like fun and worth it. But if we scale it up and double the size of the store, it will be. Then as an owner, I can make a very healthy 6-figure income just off of the Amazon store alone, after all of the expenses are taken into consideration. So as we continue to scale it up and get to where we're trying to go, I'll be really breaking things down and showing you guys, especially if you're like that's probably something we'll do with Cheddar Black, because usually that's 150 people and not like World Wide Web. And so those 150 people, I'll probably really break things down and show you.
Oh, I think Grant's connection got slowed down a little bit. But what he was saying was, yes, join Cheddar Black. There'll be more stuff out there and more trainings, more in-depth trainings than what we're going to put out into YouTube. Was that you or was that me, Grant? Did I freeze up on you?
I think it might have been me. Yeah, not sure what happened there. I woke up this morning, my internet was off, and so I had to like reset routers, do the whole thing, and I don't know if I'm having some issues with my system or what.
Well, you're coming through clearly now. I want to touch on this one comment because I do get this a lot, and since we're all here live, it's a good time. Flat says, I am on the fence on a lead provider. There's another well-respected lead provider saying that your leads don't pass the IP complaint. Can you explain more on that? First of all, shout out to that leadless provider. Really glad that you like to call us out by names. We would never do that, just for the record. We could easily say, hey, we've been testing out this one list and this is how we see it stack up next to ours. But IP complaints. Okay. This is a touchy subject.
There's actually Taylor, did you know there's a leadless provider with reviews on his website that basically compare his service with OA Cheddar? Yeah, that's another thing we would never do. Is like if somebody like actually ousted another provider's, because we want to rise above. But if someone actually like gave us a review and ousted another competitor, we would just delete it, even if we agree. Because again, just trying to like level up to like a higher standard of living. So.
And it's funny too, because when we did expose a theft of leads where people, a source where people were stealing leads from other leadless providers and some recognizable ones, I'm sure the level of care that we put into it was not equally matched. It was
just like, oh, there's nothing you can really do about it. I'm like, no, there's certainly something we can freaking do about it. Like, we don't have to watch our leads get stolen.
We did. We identified the person and sent them cease and desist letters and removed them from our system because we take it very seriously. But okay, IP complaints. I hear this all the time. Hey, this lead popped an IP alert. Hey, this is showing up on AZ alert. Why, can you just not share any leads that never pop an IP alert? The reason why we don't just rely on these user collected data softwares to make decisions is because it is not the end all be all. They are great tools to help give you a heads up if there is a possible risk of IP, but it doesn't mean that there is IP complaints that are going to come from that brand or from that listing. I use this as an example all the time. Ralph Lauren Polo shows up as an IP risk. Okay, I have sold thousands of dollars of Ralph Lauren Polo and have never had an issue. Okay, there is a difference between counterfeit complaints, trademark complaints, and copyright complaints. Trademark and copyright are usually about the specific listing itself. Okay, it means that the listing isn't giving credit to the brand properly. They're using their copyrighted images or materials in that listing. It doesn't mean that the entire brand itself is going to send you, that you shouldn't sell anything from that brand because you're going to get sent an IP complaint. It just means that maybe that specific listing is no good. Likewise, there are plenty of leads that we find that pop an IP alert that have a vast history of sellers selling it and selling out and coming and going. Okay, so here's what we do when we look at leads, and this is the way the team is trained. If AZ alert or IP alert or any of those softwares get popped, okay, that's strike one. Okay, doesn't mean that we're going to disqualify the lead, just for that, because if we did that, you guys would not. We would be doing you guys a huge disservice by not sharing actionable leads to you because a crowdsourced software is telling us we shouldn't. Because some guy said, well, I got an IP complaint from this brand and now it pops up every time someone visits the listing. What we do is strike one, if AZ alert or IP alert gets popped. We go to Keepa. Do we see IP drops happen in the offer count history, right? Where it's selling at 10 offers and then all of a sudden it went from 10 to 1. Okay, if we see that, that's strike two, that lead's not getting shared. And we try our best with that, right? Our team goes through, 300 to 500 leads per day and filters them down to the results that you guys see on the list. So there are times that maybe they forget to look at the year-long history and not just the last 90 days. Okay, that does happen, right? The other thing is if IP alert pops and we're looking at a listing and we can admittedly get better at this, is who are the offers? Is the brand the only seller? If so, we shouldn't be sharing that listing. Okay, that's gonna be a strike two. It's out of here. Are the offers obvious wholesalers, meaning that they have a ton of reviews on their seller accounts and have they historically been on that listing for a long time? If so, we need to be removing those leads. Admittedly, we could do a little bit better there. Sometimes, you see these graphs and it's 2, 3, 4 offers, 5 offers, and it kind of seems like it's moving. But as you dig in, and we're training our team every single week, right? But as you dig in, you kind of see, oh, you know what? Looks like there's some wholesalers, and maybe these, the 4th and 5th offer are coming, and then maybe getting a C and D letter and removing themselves from the listing. So we have that policy, and there's a YouTube video out there that goes over this in depth of what we look for and how we vet leads. Because one, we want to share actionable leads with you guys. So disqualifying leads because a software says so is not going to do that. Okay. And then secondly is we want to dive in deeper into these leads and understand if there's actually a threat. And you should be doing that yourself too. If you're sourcing and you get an IP alert, no matter what the software is, which they all differ, just so anyway, there's sometimes an IP alert pops off and then AZ alert doesn't. And, maybe, I'm forgetting what it's called all of a sudden, but there's another. No, I have the extension on my other browser. It like lives in the top right-hand corner. Whatever.
Ace and Gadget.
Ace and Gadget, right? Yeah. Ace and Gadget, I believe, also shows IP. I could be wrong about that. I don't use that tool as much as others, but regardless, if you're sourcing and you get those and go, oh, never mind, don't even bother looking at this lead. I'm gonna get IP risk. You're doing yourself a disservice. Okay, dig in. Okay, research, understand what are the signs of IP hits happening on a listing, and
that's the other thing too. Like, is the IP alert from or claim or whatever or result from like 2020?
Yep.
Because like, who cares, right? What happened in 2020? It's 3 years later. If there's nothing more current than that, and again, you can maybe even just look at like that. That's the other thing too, is just because there's a software that pops off, right? Like, go look at the keeper graph, right? There's like there's oftentimes leads that we won't deliver because there is this massive drop, and we're like, oh, that's an IP risk. It just happened like in the last 2 months. We should probably
Yep.
avoid this, but where's the alerting systems, right? And here's the other thing. Have you ever had a seller, and I'm sure everyone who's done any type of volume, reach out to you, claim to be the brand, and wanting to know where you source the item? So this is some fishy dude who's like down and out, needs to find some leads, and is like literally emailing sellers to try to figure out where they bought stuff so that they can, I guess, go source it. This literally happens, like illegitimate stuff. And so, like, is it possible? I mean, if I'm like kind of a sleazeball, that I could like report to these softwares and tell them that I got an IP claim when I never really did. And again, like Taylor, I think this is a really key one too, is like, if it's an IP claim, that's pretty broad, right? Is it
Right.
counterfeit claim? Because that's really the only one that probably matters to a certain degree. Like a trademark or the other ones, like copyright claims, like those matter, of course, but that's again probably because maybe like the brand wasn't correctly listed on the listing.
Right.
So are we not going to sell that brand across the entire Amazon marketplace because of one listing that was improperly created and popped up IP claim for one seller? That's all we know most of the time. So the
Right.
softwares are good. I think they're a good clue to grab your attention to do a little more investigation. But as you can tell from this conversation, there's so much more to IP claim risk than a software that tells you there's an IP risk.
Yep.
Um,
And full transparency right now, because we source OA Cheddar data, like 99% of our inventory is OA Cheddar data. We have one IP complaint right now. Now, we did 30 days ago have like 6 or 7 of them. I think we had like 7 or 8, right? And our score was low, and we were at risk, but we got those removed. We hired Jeff Schick's team. Okay. So if you don't know who Jeff Schick is, he's the Amazon lawyer. His team is great. He has helped us remove a ton of IP complaints. He helps get us in contact with these brand owners and negotiates retractions. So you can check him out at jeffschick.com.
he actually cease and desist them, because what they're doing is essentially like not lawful because they have no evidence. Like these, I get so pissed off because Amazon should not allow this. These counterfeit claims without a test buy are literally baseless lies. And so actually what he's doing is he's cease and desisting these brands and telling them you need to retract the claim, and you need to make sure you don't file another claim. Now, in fairness, you need to do that, and in exchange, we'll stop selling your shit. But, so to be fair, like he's going in with to the jugular, but also at the same rate recognizing that the brand does carry some negotiating power, obviously, in the event of unauthorized resellers. But they're few and far between, and
for the amount of stuff that we sell and the amount of SKUs we have, the amount of IP complaints we get is very small. And having somebody like Jeff in your back pocket to help you when you need it, okay, is a huge advantage. And you should have, you should be part of his team and keep them on retainer, because it is nice to have somebody you can send these off to who will work on fixing them for you. But then also you learn stuff. So we've learned over the years. We've been suspended before. We understand what Amazon is looking for. We understand how Amazon wants us to respond to these types of claims. And we've had success appealing our own claims by showing the paper trail of how we got that item. And so just on the topic of IP, I think it is very disingenuous to say that we're doing a disservice to our customers because we don't filter out everything that pops an IP alert. I actually would counter that and say we're doing a disservice if we did do that. And if your lead list is doing that, great. You might have some very safe listings that may never ever cause you any risk, but you're leaving a lot of profit on the table. And I'd rather collect that profit and make those sales and learn than not to.
And here's what I would
on that same note. A seller that I know personally who does a very large amount in sales, a ton in sales, like 500, not 500, 5 million, 6 million, around that range, right? that seller, when we're talking, he said, here are 2 examples of listings I go absolutely crazy deep on, hundreds of units, 200 units on.
IP complaints.
Okay. It popped an IP alert. It only had 2 sellers on there, and he invested at that time. I think he said he bought like 100 or 200 units of each one of these SKUs. Well, is there something that maybe he knows that I don't, which is they can't stop you? I don't know what he knows. I'm not even going to go down that road, but it just goes to show that you got to risk it for the biscuit. Okay. Risk it for the biscuit. If you're not testing things out. Now, am I saying that you should go out and go 20, 30 deep on a listing that pops an IP alert? No. But should you test by it? Right? Should you look at Keepa and go, well, there's other people selling it. Let's look at those offers. Okay. Some of them have, around the same amount of reviews and ratings as I do. So if all things being equal, shouldn't I be able to go in and also compete on this listing? Maybe I'm going to buy 5 and test by it. Okay, crap, that worked out. Well, now let's try 10, 15, okay, this is working out pretty well. And now you've found yourself an item that most people will be scared away from because they get a little notification on their desktop saying, ooh, be scared.
Most of the time, if you're going to get an IP claim, what I've noticed is the brand is a seller. So that'd probably be the number one thing. Like, even if there's a bunch of other sellers on it, if the brand's a seller, pretty much avoid it. That's going to be your biggest clue. Most of the claims that we've had that were difficult to get retracted, or we had to file, appeal over and over and over and over and over again, was on those. And for my own protection and Taylor's and the protection of OA Cheddar, don't buy anything with an IP risk. Just don't. If you are worried about it, here's the thing: we're not your attorneys. We're not your accountants, and so anything you learn on any of our calls is just our own opinions, and the way we do it in our business. And you are welcome to do it however you want and seek professional legal advice when necessary with these types of decisions, because you can't blame us. Just like I'm not crying a roof to anybody to anybody else other than myself when I get an IP claim. I handle it like a business person. We take calculated risks and we deal with it as we go, just like you should. So if you get an IP claim because of a Cheddar lead or something, like, we don't need to hear about it. I mean, you could tell us, right? We might actually go and mark it in Cheddarsoft as a concerning lead, especially if we can see the evidence in the listing, and provide proof. But otherwise,
which we do all the time. I will add that in. We do that all the time. If someone comes to us and say, hey, here's my proof, I got this IP complaint, we dig in and we see, yep, here it is. You can see where where they sent out a bunch of IP complaints. We blacklist. Okay. If it's a brand that is, we're not going to blacklist a Nike or a brand like that, obviously. But if it's a health and beauty product and the lead is coming directly from their source and they have 5 different products on their website for sale, right? And we can see the evidence of, like, yep, they're going after people, we'll blacklist that and we put it to our team. So
here's one thing I want to tell you too, because there's a provider out there who's putting trying to convince people to not buy our product. Weird.
They hate us because they ain't us.
What?
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't us, Taylor. I will tell you, I'm biased, right? Like, I'm not saying that for this person to have an opinion and think that his product is better than ours or her product is better than ours, that makes them wrong. I'm not saying that. They're welcome to their opinion. I think that throwing somebody else under the bus, like directly, as calling someone out like that, that's sort of low. But I call competitors out all the time. But I can tell you from my biased opinion, my perspective, our product is better. And that gives me confidence to come out and say that in the market. And again, but I have a perspective of what is good and not, right? And so from my perspective, our product is better than competitors. I've tested out their stuff and it's lame. That's my opinion, right? What I would tell you is I think, first of all, who are you buying from? Like, one dude with, what do you know about this person? Right. First of all, and this is important, right? Because we have caught fraudulent people. And I still think that there's providers that actually have a pretty good customer base that have people on their team who are literally buying lead lists from other providers and then reselling it to them. And then they're selling it to their customers. That's what I think happens. a lot. And that's why we have such, we have a whole webinar on this. You can go watch it on the YouTube channel if you care about like how OA Cheddar secures the data. And I'm not saying that we can perfect it and that we can guarantee 100% unequivocally that doesn't happen within our team, but we've done everything we know of in our power to secure the data at OA Cheddar, make sure that it's organically found during work hours at OA Cheddar, not found by somebody else, and that's selling it to my team, that's then selling it to me, and then I'm selling it to, like, this kind of stuff happens, right? Where there's money to be made, there's fraud. Like if you go look at on Google and look at some of the online arbitrage lead list providers out there, it's a bunch of crap, bunch of garbage. There's so much garbage. You go look at the websites, like garbage website, faceless name, like faceless brand. You have no idea who they are. They're probably from some foreign country, and they're paying a minimum, they're paying 70 cents for a lead and then reselling them for $1.50 and going, hooray, I make money. Here's the thing is I would be leery, right? Like, what is your provider? And this is worth asking them. I think this would be good for the industry, for you as an online arbitrage lead list subscriber to go to your competitors or go to your lead list providers and ask them, how do you guarantee that the leads come directly from hours that are actually work within your team? Do you monitor? Do you use a screenshot service to monitor the team? Do you have all of your lead generators under contract? How do you ensure that the leads that you deliver are organically sourced from your team and not being resold by the team that you've hired? How is it possible that you can make so little amount of money per lead list and actually be profitable? Are you just doing this as a charity for online arbitrage sellers? Because I don't know how you're making enough money with these lead lists, and actually having your team, unless you found like the world's greatest lead generator who can produce like 40 leads a day consistently. Those don't exist, by the way. But anyway, I could rant on and on and on. Yeah. Anyway, we should probably stop, Taylor. We're gonna piss somebody off.
No, 100%. You know what though? Like, let them, let them be.
Come at me, bro.
Oh yeah, we're good over here. All right. Well, perfect. Well, let's Grant, I think we should wrap this up unless there is anything else that you want to touch on.
No, I want to thank Eric. He mentioned it here. Where's he at? Where are you at, buddy? Facebook user here. Eric, thank you for joining Gouda. Appreciate you, brother. I see it on my other screen over here.
Taking advantage of that coupon code. I love it.
Let's go. Yeah,
yes. Awesome. And then, we did have this question up here that, what is the best way in which you use to track your replens? We are CheddarSoft guys, obviously, but CheddarSoft is a lead and order management tool. It's where you can deposit all of your leads inside of a database that you can easily search and sort through. You can record all of your orders that you place for your Amazon business efficiently and correctly. So you can keep track of everything you have on order right now before it arrives to your prep center or to your house. Helps really just making the managing of all the stuff you purchase such a breeze. But also it allows you to go back in through old lead data and take advantage when there's sales from different suppliers, or like Grant was saying, we'll go through our sold our orders inside of Seller Central and we go, hey, we sold 2 of those in one day. Let's hop over real quick. I can quickly identify the lead and where to buy it from. And then if it's like, yep, let's take action on this, add to the buy list. And then our buyer, Charles, he just swoops it up and picks up more, which is one of the ways that we've been able to grow our business in these last couple of months. Super simple. Not doing anything fancy. We're just going back in and buying more of the stuff that's selling before it goes out of stock. And if you're sourcing from an OA Cheddar lead list, the nice thing is, that lead is not going to show up on an OA Cheddar lead list for 60 days, which means that there is a window of opportunity within those, 0 to 60 days that you can come in and snag up some great items before they're ever shared again. Sweet. Thank you guys. Had our whole data team here on the video. Awesome. We love it, Mike. Thank you so much. Other than that, guys, just remember, last little shameless plug to give you a good deal. Head to OA Cheddar, and use code YouTube50 at checkout for 50% off your first month's worth of leads. One list or all of our lists, you're going to get the same deal by using code YouTube50 at checkout. Great way to stock up your inventory before Q4. It is literally right around the corner. For those who are curious about Cheddar Black and what Cheddar Black is, we will be having a webinar. Grant, is it okay if I announce the date?
No, I don't think so. I think we got to keep that in
Okay.
the closed fist for now. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to know more information about Cheddar Black, it is right around the corner. Okay. Head to oacheddar.com. You can put your email in so that way you get you're up to date with all the latest news from OA Cheddar and about Cheddar Black specifically. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great time. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you guys for joining us. This actually went really smooth. I'm not going to lie. I like the live streaming aspect. We will be doing this again in 2 weeks from now. So just be on the lookout for more lives from us. We appreciate you guys. I just want to show this comic because I like this. Shh, that's enough about Cheddarsoft. It's my secret weapon. It's a lot of people's secret weapon, but I don't want it to be a secret. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah, we got
all right. Grant.
Peace out.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Bye, everyone.